This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today my voice sounds kind of funky because, as you may have known if you saw the post I placed, I was sick last weekend and didn't really record any videos. Basically spent 12 hours a day in bed. So now I'm trying to make a video, my voice still sounds terrible and I want to cough like a motherfucker. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the G.I. Joe Classified series, Bradley Big Love Sanders, aka Tunnel Rat's best friend from the movie. This is technically speaking the third figure he's gotten. He never had a release in the vintage line. He did get a convention exclusive done in the O-ring style, and then later on a G.I. Joe fan club version in the 4-inch style. So if we take a look at the side, honestly, we got one of the worst bits of artwork, I'm going to say, for a G.I. Joe figure in a while. And specifically, he reminds me of an actor. And the thing is, he reminds me of a white actor. And I can't quite, like, I've got the guy, like, in my head, and I cannot recall the name. So if you can think of who I'm thinking of, please let me know. But I'm starting to wonder if this is, like, some really bad AI artwork they're using now or something. It doesn't really look like the figure. Then on the side, we get the usual BS that I don't care about. And on the back, we see a nice little pose there as he's jumping over some equipment in order to start blowing shit up. I do have an appreciation that his combat boots look more like combat sneakers, so that's kind of fun. So let's go ahead and open this sucker up, shall we? So for the moment, I'm just going to report that he's got a lot of loose joints. And I don't like that. That is awful. Well, apparently he's not going to work on my stand either. So first off, let's go ahead and take a look at his accessories. Also, to note, he is tall and thin. I think this is the first of this body type that we've gotten. So I don't know if we'll see more figures like this or not, but oh my gosh. He comes with a hand holding a basketball with a broken finger. Guess I'm going to have to heat that up to try to reposition it so it looks like not broken. It's kind of a cool little extra accessory, although the basketball looks too small for G.I. Joe sized. Just saying. He's also got just a, I don't know what I would call that hand form. Just kind of there. Like, this would make more sense if it was a high-fiving hand. Not that anybody else really has a high-fiving hand. This kind of looks like it might be a mini grenade launcher type of thing. I don't know if this is a real-world item or not. But that's like, it's got a huge barrel on it for a small gun. It does not look like a flare gun, but so that's why I was just kind of thinking that. He's got a nice dagger. Knife. Let's go ahead and put that in his sheath here. Actually, it's going to be fun trying to figure out where all this stuff goes, I think. So he's got pretty much a standard, like, pistol. Tiny handgun, actually. I think it's smaller than the one that almost is, well, maybe about the same size as Tunnel Rat's revolver. Then we have this massive gun. Thicker barrel. Though it does have a regular magazine clip on there. So I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to represent, again, any kind of grenade launcher. And that's one of the things with him is that his, he throws grenades. Hence, we get one single solitary grenade for him to hold. And hands that aren't really designed to hold it. So that's kind of sad. Although apparently we can stick it back on this little belt loop here. Like that. Which also seems like poor design, but, you know, whatever. Obviously, the only place we can put this thing is back here, because that rifle's too big for that holster. Does have a radio sculpted into his bandolier. Some extra pouches. His knife is actually connected to his belt. Like I said, the face sculpt looks really good. Oops, there goes a grenade. We're all going to blow up and die. Yeah, I mean, his face sculpt does look really good. He looks a little bit more mature than I would say he looked in the cartoon, but, you know, this is G.I. Joe Classified. Size-wise, this is what I wanted to do. I just want you to look at the height difference here between Tunnel Rat and Big Lob. And just for an additional comparison, I know I don't do these comparisons as often as I probably should, bring out Sergeant Slaughter, who is previously one of the tallest characters in this line, next to Nemesis Enforcer, who I'm not going to bring out. And Big Lob is taller than him. We got quite the size difference going on here. I would like to see more done with this body type. I think that'd be pretty cool. I wonder. I thought maybe his wristbands would come off. Oh, yeah, they do. Okay. Go ahead. Swap out for his basketball hand real quick. Okay, I got it. You know, I used to play basketball too, so you'd think I would have been smarter than this. So we can kind of make it look like he's playing basketball, or holding the basketball. Getting ready to do a 3-throw. Dunk shot. Ugh. But yeah, okay, that kind of explains the other hand. Still not a good bit of positioning for those fingers, but now I get it. I do wish with some of these bandoliers and stuff, though, that they would just have the little pin in them to help hold them in place on these characters. Because it's not like we have a ton of extra G.I. Joe backpacks for these guys. But again, as I was mentioning, at least on my copy of this figure, there are lots of loose bits here. But let's talk about his articulation here. We have ball joint in the head. It can spin around. The neck has the ball joint down there as usual too. It spins, and of course, like a lot of the figures, the neck will spin with the head quite a bit. We can still do the giggity giggity chicken neck thing. There's a butterfly joint. It moves pretty well, actually. We can spin at a 360 around. Bicep cut spins 360 also. We can hinge all the way up like that. So we can, like, buddy, smell my armpit. Because, you know, that's what the tall friends always do to their short ones, right? And then we double jointed elbow. Wrist spins 360. We have in and out on the right. And he's got in and out. He's got in and out on that left. And in and out on his other hand. So this is the first time in a while we did not get a Joe figure with opposing hands. And then, of course, his other hand also has the in and out articulation with the basketball and the broken finger. If it wasn't obvious, he has a bicep. If it wasn't obvious, he has an ab crunch. So he can squat forward like that and push back like that. The waist here is the ball joint, and again, very, very loose. Leg-wise, we do appear to have the drop-down hips once more. Whoops. He can kick forward. He can not really kick back very far. His booty is not very well defined, which is a shame. See, this is the problem. One of the problems I have with the G.I. Joe stuff. Like, they don't want to define the women's booties, and they don't want to define the men's booties. You know how tight some of these freaking pants are? We should see some ass crack. Like, come on, man. You don't even have to have a double standard on it. You can do it to the men and the women. You can do the 360 here on the thigh with the thigh cuts. Of course, this side, you know, the sheath is going to kind of interfere with it. We got a double joint at the knee. Fold it back. Now, he doesn't have a boot cut. He has an ankle cut here because of his ankle, because of his shoes. And I am kind of wigged out by this design because, all right. So, like, literally speaking, the joint is inside the shoe. So, like, you see the top of his sock there, and then it's the actual hinge is down there. So we get some range of motion. And obviously the ankle cut is right above that in the sock line. We can spin 360 and hinge a little bit. Like I was saying, the hinge part, though, there's less movement, I feel, in this design than normal because they hid the hinge inside the boot. Now, even though Big Lob did not have his own figure back in the vintage line, when they did do the convention and club exclusive versions, we did get a file card. Big Lob, G.I. Joe Reservist. I think that's the first time I've heard Reservist with any of the G.I. Joes like that. File name, Sanders, Bradley J. I hope his rank is a colonel. We have the SN number. Primary military specialty, infantry and grenadier. Secondary military specialty, special services. I really like a definition of what that means. Birthplace, Chicago, Illinois. Well, this would explain the handguns. Big Lob's outstanding physical prowess made him an athletic standout since elementary school. During high school, his strength, conditioning, speed, and all-around toughness helped him excel in 6 different sports. With college scholarships lined up upon graduation, he chose to enlist in the Army Reserves to serve his country, but still stay close to his hometown and family. Rumors of his outstanding sports prowess and his record of precise distance grenade throws were quickly recognized by the G.I. Joe team. He joined under their rawhides program, which allowed him the flexibility to only report for mission needing his specialized expertise. He is well liked by his teammates except for his annoying habit of talking about himself in the third person and using sports metaphors on every subject. The concept of throwing grenades goes back to the Greek fire used by Byzantines and early gunpowder bombs devised by the Chinese in the Tang dynasty. 13 centuries later, more advanced and specialized versions are still an integral part of the modern soldier's ordnance. Big Lob is exceptionally skilled at manually throwing hand grenades at specific targets and using multiple shot grenade launcher for longer distances. He carries a full arsenal of high explosives, flechette, incendiary, chemical compounds, and even smoke grenades to accomplish any mission objective. When Big Lob makes his move, he always shoots to score the big win. You know, that's kind of weird too, that the file cards that they did later on for like some of these conventions and club exclusives didn't have like a quote from Hawk or whoever like they usually do. I gotta admit, one of my favorite scenes in G.I. Joe the movie, the animated one, was when Tunnel Rat and Big Lob were going through the obstacle course. That was a lot of fun, and I wish I had I have both of the beachheads that have been released, but I have not opened either one of them yet. Otherwise, I would have had him in the back here too, with like just looking down with his face in his hands. But yeah, I'm excited to get this character, man. He's awesome. I do wish that the joints on this copy were not so loose, because that always sucks. And that might have some issues with the posing later on. I probably will not be posing with the basketball, however, just to get that out there. And I wish they had designed a hand specifically for holding the grenade. They also could have just gave us a hand that had the grenade already in it, like they did the basketball. basketball, just so that we can, get a good throwing pose. Because, yeah, the problem being, obviously, is you're not holding the grenade by the trigger. You hold the grenade by the body of it. And those G.I. Joe Classified hands aren't that big to hold them like that. So while I give them props for a lot of the stuff that they did with this figure, aside from the loose joints, that is the one thing where they kind of failed. Because remember, one of the big scene in that little end bit, which I've probably shown by now, shows him literally, shooting the grenade right into the top of the drone robot gun thing. So yeah, they kind of cheated us out on a good pose hand. I would have traded the grenade for the basketball any day. Just saying right there. But why don't you guys tell me what you think about this figure, and if you had any suggestions for how they could have improved it, and if you know what that thing on his back is. That seriously, what is that supposed to be? Some kind of mini grenade launcher? Seriously? That's what I'm kind of wondering. But if you enjoyed watching this review, please feel free to grenade that like button. And if you'd like to hear more of my nonsense in the future, you can subscribe. I thank you for watching. Peace and love.